Little NBC's brought out the national security analyst. May as well call him Dracula. A face of evil. Oh, the libs just eat this up with a giant spoon. He's on here for a rehash of the Russia collusion investigation. Fresh out of the New York Times. Or should I say regurgitated. It's raining out today. I say we have some sprinkles on our alphabet Sunday.
Welcome back. We're going to dig a little deeper into the New York Times story about President Trump and Russia. Frankly, we think it deserves an explainer. So with me now are Mike.
It deserves an explainer. Yep. That's so he can set up your mind for mind control.
Michael Schmidt, one of the reporters who broke the story about the FBI's counterintelligence investigation into whether Mr. Trump, as sitting president, was working as an agent for Russia.
Make sure they get that out there.
NBC News legal
as a
analyst
sitting
and the
president.
editor-in-chief of the National Security Blog Lawfare, and he actually worked with Mr. Schmidt on this story. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you.
They look like monsters,
Michael,
right out of Mad Monster Party.
Walk us through the piece here. The designation is a counterintelligence investigation. We've always thought of the Comey firing and the Mueller aspect as simply obstruction of justice.
How about obstruction of America and our progress?
This is sort of separate, but we're calling it counterintelligence, and it's a bit confusing. Why?
The FBI was afraid that the firing of Comey was a way to help the Russians stop the FBI from figuring.
Russia. Looks like these two have it out for our president. But they're supposed to be helping the national security of our country by analyzing it to death.
Bring out what they did in the election.
Is this still a counterintelligence investigation into whether Mr. Trump himself is acting as a Russian agent? Is that what the Mueller probe inherited?
He's not acting as a Russian agent. He's been on television for, goodness, 30 years. Are you saying he's been with Russia this whole time? Or just after he won the presidency?
The Mueller probe inherited it. We know the Mueller probe has spent an enormous amount of time trying to figure out what the president has done in office.
And a lot of money. An enormous amount of taxpayers' money. You might want to put that in there.
In regards to the investigation, his interference with it, they've talked to all of these White House officials. Do we know if there is still this belief and aspect that the president is working for the Russians? I can't answer that.
All right, Ben.
Oh, he can't answer it. But what are you doing on TV?
By former FBI General Counsel James Baker. And this is what he told Congress, and this was in the New York Times story, about why they viewed it as counterintelligence. He said this: not only would it be an issue of obstructing an investigation, but the obstruction itself would hurt our ability to figure out what the Russians had done, and that is what would be the threat to national security.
Well, I've got news for you, Mr. Sleepin' Chuck Todd. Wipe the dusk from your eyes. That Russian collusion story is a bunch of malarkey. Who do you think really colluded with the Russians? Was it Robert Mueller? Was it Hillary Clinton? Was it John McCain? How about all of the above? Yeah, we don't need to be listening to this rhetoric much longer. But I'm curious as to why so many people are interested in a regurgitated story. They like puke.
Led you to write that the collusion question and the obstruction question are now the same thing. Collusion is obstruction and vice versa.
And guess what? If collusion isn't illegal, then if collusion and obstruction are the same thing, what's the big whoop?
So explain.
Well, so as Mike just described, we had sort of
No, you didn't describe anything.
Obstruction
You were just asked to
as
explain.
this kind of separate criminal investigation that arose at the time of the firing. In other words, that you had this underlying election interference investigation going on, the so-called collusion investigation. Then the president comes along and kneecaps the investigation by firing the FBI director. And
He fired the FBI director because of that awful testimony he gave. He must have lied 25 times. I'd fire him too. Who blames the president?
We learned
Not
that
I.
Bob Mueller
Not
is
I.
investigating whether that's obstruction of justice, i.e. a crime.
They see right there. What a waste of time this is. They still don't even know if it's a crime. But this whole brouhaha has gone to the dogs. It already was there.
The significance of Mike's and Adam Goldman's story is that it forces you to reimagine how the FBI understood what it was doing.
Oh, really?
Which, as Mike just said,
I understand that they were texting back and forth. They didn't want this guy in office. That's one thing for sure. Let's talk about the facts, not a bunch of hypotheticals from the New York slimes. I'm done. Let's take a look at Margaret
With
Brennan.
dozens of Democrats considering a 2020 presidential bid, on Saturday, the former mayor of San Antonio, Julian Castro, became the latest candidate.
Who?
Castro gained national attention when he delivered the keynote address at the 2012 Democratic Convention.
And he was called Julian Castro, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to get hate mail.
He was also Secretary of Housing and Urban Development during the Obama administration.
That's right. There you go. You say no more. 2020 comes and this guy's going to be going for the Green Party? I doubt it. I smell a crossover to Democrat.
Grandson of a Mexican immigrant, Julian Castro has already been endorsed by a Democratic member of Congress, his twin brother, Joaquin. And Julian...
Wait, what was it? Akin? Akin or Joaquin? We'll have to look into these two. That's some scary stuff right there. I'm seeing double. Oh no, they're really twins. Oh my God. Let's not get the Lord involved. We don't want these people in our government. I've decided right now there's no place for the Castro twins.
And Castro joins us from the site of his announcement.
Let's
The president
smile.
visited your home state of
What an
Texas this
evil
week, went to the
smile.
border, said there is a humanitarian and national security crisis. Do you
Yep.
agree with him that there is a crisis at the border?
There is a crisis
What I
and you
believe
know
is
it.
that he's created a tragedy at the border.
Okay, now we've got him creating tragedies at the border. So he's responsible for getting these big giant caravans together to come and storm the damn border.
Of separating children from their parents.
Here we
And
go again.
the terrible way that Customs and Border Protection has,
I'm tired of it.
including the deaths of 2 children within the last few weeks. That's
Has
a real
nothing to
tragedy.
do with border
The family
control.
separation policy has been paused at least, but there are a record number of family units crossing the border, and that creates
A lot of problems for us.
a lot of challenges. So what would you do?
I don't believe that we should have family detention for people that are seeking asylum or refugee status. So that we should develop other ways to ensure that people are processed, that we're able to keep track of them in the country.
You were critical even under the Obama administration.
You know, I didn't do that with my remote. That was an edit job, courtesy of CBS News. Let's check it out again.
So that we should develop other ways to ensure that people are processed, that we're able to keep track of them in the country.
You were critical even under the Obama administration.
Well, isn't that special?
Specifically about their high level of deportations. So what do you offer as an alternative? If you're not going to detain and you're not going to deport, what do you do with illegal immigrants?
Well, what I believe
Turn 'em
we
loose.
can do, and what the Obama administration did do, I believe toward the end of its tenure, was to look at things like ankle monitors so that you're able to monitor where people are in the country.
Oh, and they
But
cut
we
'em
also
right
need to
off.
be serious about
It's a joke.
recognizing the right of people to seek asylum.
Imagine this. He's recognizing the rights of people who don't even belong in our country. What a prime candidate for the Democratic Party.
And the president is playing games with this, blocking people's right to seek asylum. I would change that.
He's blocking people's rights to come in here illegally. You should tell it like it is, or you don't stand a chance.
I would make sure that we push as hard as possible for comprehensive immigration reform, so that for the people who are already here, if they've been law-abiding, if they pay a fine, that they can get an earned path to citizenship.
And what sort of fine would that be? Huh? Give us an amount. Just a rough dollar estimate. How much would you charge them? Also, there is no path to citizenship. You come in the right way or you don't come in at all.
Candidacy, and almost immediately the RNC issued a statement. I want to read it here to you. It says, Julian Castro has made history by becoming one of the biggest lightweights to ever run for president. He is
a lightweight, and he's weak. I think we should just leave it there. Let's have a clap. Woo-hoo-hoo. Applaud on that one. I applaud you, Margaret Brennan, for reading that. Well, until next time, I tell you, we got some crazy people in the media, and they all are against our president. Let's just stick to Judge Janine and Graham Ledger and Tucker Carlson, people who are trying to fight for the country and the Constitution. And check out Mark Levin, too. Meanwhile, if you can't take the Sunday news, I don't blame you. That's what I'm here for. It was Alphabet Sunday, and we just took a big bite.